It's pretty obvious that we expend energy continuously, and in order to refuel, we have to eat. In a perfect world, your caloric and energy intake from what you consume will cover all of your energy expenditures. You will not have any excess energy and therefore excess calories left over to store as fat. Stored fat is actually going to be used for energy in between meals. And the amount of fat that a person will either deposit or withdraw from adipose tissue is going to depend entirely on how much energy you expend during your activities of daily living. In general, we pretty much maintain a steady energy balance over time. Any given week, eat a little more on one day, a little less on another, and your weight might go up a pound, maybe two, but in general, we stay within an energy balance. When that balance shifts, our weight will reflect that. For each 3,500 calories you eat that is in excess of what you need, you store a pound of fat. So a pound of body fat stores 3,500 calories. When you're trying to lose weight, it's always best to aim for lifestyle changes and gradual weight loss. You will be much more likely to keep that weight off than if you lose it rapidly. If you restrict or limit your food intake too severely, you actually start to lose lean tissue like muscle, and you might not get sufficient nutrient. In addition, restrictive eating can trigger yo-yo dieting and binge eating. So if you have quick changes in weight, it's not just fat. If you're gaining weight or losing weight rapidly, generally you'll have some impact on fat. You're going to have an impact on fluid, your fluid levels and how much fluid is in your body. And you will also have an impact on your leaner tissues like muscle and bone. Even over the long term, the composition of weight that you gain or lose is about 3/4 body fat and about 1/4 lean tissue. During extreme dietary restriction and even starvation, losses of fat and lean tissue are about equal. Excuse me. Excuse me. So you'll remember that fat has an energy value of 9 calories per gram, and carbs and proteins 4 calories per gram. So you can actually compute the amount of calories that you're consuming pretty easily. Excuse me again. Wow, sorry. So in order to achieve that mythic energy balance, you have to be able to meet your energy requirements without taking in too much food, eating too much food, or not eating enough. And in general, your body has these alerts and triggers to tell you how much and how often you should eat, when to start eating, and when to stop. There are a bunch of internal signals that will either initiate or delay the process of eating. So what actually is hunger? It is defined as the physiological drive for food that initiates your food-seeking behavior. Hunger is a physiological response. It is triggered by chemical messenger molecules that originate in and act on the brain, particularly on the area known as the hypothalamus, which we'll mention throughout the course. When you hear hypothalamus, think body homeostasis because of what the hypothalamus actually does functionally. You can influence hunger by a whole bunch of different things, including the nutrients that are in your circulatory system, the size and the composition of the preceding meal, as well as other items. Here's another influencer: environmental temperatures. So everybody knows what shivering is, and thermogenesis means production of heat. So non-shivering thermogenesis is you are producing heat, but you're not shivering. How does that happen? So your hypothalamus will actually secrete hormones that will trigger a cascade of events, which includes having an effect on the thyroid, which in turn, the thyroid will trigger cells to undergo additional amounts of ATP generation. Yes, your cells can actually generate more ATP when you are in the cold. So if you've ever been outside in the cold working, or when it's really cold, so you're working or you're out there sledding or you're doing something with your kids, you'll notice that when you come in, you're hungry. It is because if you're out there in the real cold, not 30-degree cold, but the -9s and -10s that we sometimes get here. If you're outside in that for any length of time, the longer you are, the more you'll feel this. You come in and wow, I'm so famished. That is because your cells are using up glucose to produce more ATP, and you are using that ATP as heat. And that is non-shivering thermogenesis. That's a great little video. So your hunger response can actually adapt to changes in the amount of food that you eat. You will have receptors all along the alimentary canal that will adapt and change how they respond to your diet, depending on what you're eating and what the nutrient composition is. So if you change your diet to something that is high in fat, within a few weeks, your alimentary canal makes adjustments to handle that increased fat intake and be more efficient about doing it. What happens when you stop eating? Watch that and find out. Appetite can also initiate eating. Person may experience appetite without needing to eat. Yes, you can. So you've just had a big meal and you're sitting around and you're talking to your friends, and somebody puts in a big old beautiful piece of your favorite cake in front of you. You might feel like you're full from consuming whatever you've consumed prior to that being plopped down in front of you, but you probably eat it. The reverse of that, person can actually be starved, but if they're given something that's unfamiliar, or they're under stress, or they have some sort of underlying illness, they may not be able to consume anything. Watch that for appetite versus hunger. And I'm going to end this here so you have another short section. See you next go round.